Active transport such as bicycling is great for health, reducing traffic congestion, and increasing urban livability. But how does the design of bicycle infrastructure affect pollution exposure for the cyclists? In today's episode, we'll take a look at how commuting on dedicated bicycle boulevards compare with commuting on larger and more heavily trafficked roads for pollution exposure. I've biked to work throughout my 35 years as a student and professor in big cities like Vancouver and Toronto. The last 14 years, my commute has been through quiet roads, interrupted mostly by wild turkey and deer crossing a road or trail. During my big city years, my default commuting routes were on relatively major roads, next to lots of car, bus, and truck traffic. So while I was benefiting my health by cycling, was I breathing in more pollution as a trade-off? And could I have reduced that pollution load by choosing a route through neighborhoods with less traffic? One trend in bicycle infrastructure design, such as in Vancouver, has indeed been to build bicycle boulevards or corridors through more residential areas, at the same time actively discouraging vehicle traffic in those corridors. To find out how bicycle infrastructure design affects pollution exposure, a team at UCal Berkeley developed two commuting routes of about the same 8 to 9.5 kilometer distance, starting and ending on campus. One was on highly trafficked roads, with about 10 to 26,000 vehicles per day. The other was mostly on Berkeley's then-new system of bicycle boulevards, with much lower traffic of about 1,500 vehicles daily. The 15 experienced and healthy bike commuters carried pollution monitors on a rear basket and completed both routes on separate days, with the instruction that it wasn't a race and that they should ride at normal commuting speeds and to, of course, follow all traffic rules. Before, right after, and 4 hours after each commute, they performed respiratory testing to see whether the commute affected their lung function. On the map, we see the pollution exposure breakdown for ultrafine particulate matter for each of the two commutes, with the purple the high traffic route and the blue the boulevard route. A simple glance makes it obvious that the high traffic route had substantially more overall particulate matter exposure, with much more frequent spikes and at much higher intensities. Another finding was that wind speed had a major effect on pollution exposure, with high wind days having lower pollutant levels. These patterns were similar across the range of pollutants that were tracked. However, despite this, no differences were seen in lung function with either commute route or wind. Of course, this was an acute test, and the health effect of pollution likely builds up over time. Bicycle boulevards and fully separating bikes from traffic is already less risky, noisy, and stressful. And it seems that there's likely health benefits too from reducing pollution exposure. Even if dedicated boulevards aren't available, see if you can plan routes that get you further from traffic, for example by going through residential areas or parks. And while we may curse the wind as cyclists, it may actually be our friend by blowing away pollution. Finally, see if you can plan your commutes to avoid rush hour in the busiest times of day. I hope that this video helps clear the air about commuting and pollution exposure. I'm Professor Stephen Chung, and I run the Environmental Ergonomics Lab at Brock University in Canada. We post new episodes on different topics in environmental physiology every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.